Okay, we're talking about the other two series, the 2-7 playoff matchups. Let's start in the Western Conference. This 2-7 Western Conference series between the Spurs and the Blazers. Pleasant surprise. Spurs went from 34 victories last season to 62 this season. Blazers, under acting head coach Thiago Splitter, who took over very early in the season after Billups was caught in a scandal, they went from 36 victories to 42. So not as big as jump, but they clawed back against the Suns on Tuesday night in the pit to make the actual dance here. San Antonio won the season series, taking 2 of 3. What's one thing you're watching for, TK, in Spurs-Blazers?
You guys heard of Victor Wembanyama?
Heard of him once.
Yeah. That's who I'm watching. He's playing in the playoffs for the first time. It's going to be awesome. He always shows up for big games, whether it be the gold medal game against the U.S. or the All-Star game. It doesn't matter. Wemby's going to play. He's going to play hard. I think it's pretty fun that he's got a matchup with Kling Kong as well. Donovan Clingan, a huge dude who's not as quick as Wemby, but he's broader. Maybe he's a little bit stronger. We know he's pretty physical. He was getting pretty rough and tumble against the Phoenix Suns in their pit matchup. Wemby didn't play against Portland this season, but it's going to be fun to just see Wemby playing in his first playoff series, dealing with the physicality, the extra minutes, getting game planned against for the entirety of a series, whether it goes 4 or 7 games. It'll just be cool to see how he responds to all this kind of stuff. And if he makes his first awesome playoff moment, it wouldn't be surprising at all.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, he does seem unflappable. You went through all the big games and what he's proven already. But what happens if the Blazers steal a game on the road or Kamara's up under him and is frustrating him and the playoff whistle isn't going his way? You know, some real adversity, and how will he handle it in real time? I am excited to see that. His first go in the playoffs, also Keldon Johnson's, also Steph Castle's, also Dylan Harper, also Julian Champagnie, also Carter Bryant. A lot of these guys play, contribute, but this is their first time here in the playoffs. So I'm excited to see how they tackle it.
You're right. This is the only thing to watch, really. I mean, it is the primary thing to watch, him against Clingan. You mentioned Kamara. They can throw a bunch of bodies.
Yeah.
Denny Avdia is a very, very good defender. He'll get out under him. Drew Holiday will. Here comes Jeremy Grant. I mean, these are big bodies that they can throw at him. But how will he handle it? I think he'll handle it extremely well. And even if he does have a bad couple quarters, he has put so much stock into his teammates. I think they'll come through. And you said they haven't been here before, but I don't think that's really an issue with this team. He is just so stoic, and it trickles down to everybody else. I mean, I started to look at other stoic players in their first playoff series and how they did. And Victor Wembanyama is 22 years old. Tim Duncan, also 22 years old in his first playoff series. They did some sweeping. They won that playoff series, and I feel like Victor Wembanyama will be that stoic as well. He'll just be extremely calm. And I do like the idea of a huge Klingan who is, not as nimble, but him banging around Wemby and pulling out Wemby, because Klingan can splash some threes as well to try and take him away from the rim. So Denny can get to the rim primarily, and Shaedon Sharpe can get to the rim. But as you said, they haven't played him. He hasn't played the Blazers and hasn't played Klingan. They don't know what they're going to get here. He played him last year once, and he destroyed him. That was a different team. Younger. Klingan was younger, but Wemby's too ready for this, man. Yeah,
I agree. But as for like a 2-7 matchup and one in the Spurs, who are a championship contender at that, at least Portland has been one of the best defenses in the league over like the last 15, 20 games. Like a quarter of the season, they've been elite. Klingan, big part of that. And then all these stout perimeter defenders in Holiday, Kamara, Matisse Thybulle plays and is obviously still a good defender. Even Chris Murray, maybe a guy that gets spot minutes to try and just body Wemby, get up under him. So I'm excited about that part. Who controls the glass? Also something to watch for. Blazers get a lot of their points from second chance points, but the Spurs are the best team in the league in defensive rebounding percentage. Big part of that is Wemby. Just gobbles those things up. So, can the Blazers, and it seems like they need to get some second chance points to maybe pull off the upset. We'll see if they can continue that against a very good defensive rebounding team. X factors, either side. Where do you want to go?
Well, first and foremost, it is the brightness of the lights. Like you mentioned, the Spurs have so many guys who are going through their first playoff series. Even De'Aaron Fox has only played 7 playoff games. Their coach has never coached in the playoffs. Who's the last Spurs coach to coach in the playoffs that wasn't Greg Popovich?
Right, Jesus. Bob Hill.
Yeah. Was it Bob or Brian?
I thought it was Bob.
I think it's Bob, too.
Yeah.
Brian Hill's Magic.
There's
guy.
another Brian.
Yeah. Bob Hill.
It's not the same guy?
No. I don't think so.
I'm going to have to check some podcasts from the early 90s then. Anyways, that's a...
Brian's slick back hair.
They're different guys.
Bob is not slick back hair.
Well, I mean,
Is he slick back?
yeah, he sort of had some slick back hair too. They were all
pushback?
pieces of shit.
Pushback hair? Slick back hair?
Yeah, Bob Hill push back hair, Brian Hill slick back hair.
Same guy, if you ask me. So I think it'll be fun to see all these guys go in their first one. Like you mentioned, Skeets, offense is going to be the problem for the Blazers. They do have a big physical defense. How do all of these Spurs deal with getting game planned against? That is pretty cool. But another X factor to me is the Spurs 3-point shooting. They won 62 games this year. In those games, they shot 37% from 3. In their 20 losses, 31% from 3. Portland shoots a low percentage, but they take a ton of threes, so they make a lot of threes. If there's a bad Spurs shooting game, Portland has to win those ones.
Yeah.
Agree that Portland is going to try and lure them into bad shots. And that would be Stephon Castle shooting threes wide open because it's not his forte. And I say lure them into bad shots. They're just going to try and lure Stephon Castle into not being his self. But I think he's too good for that. Yeah, he's just too good. So they're going to play off him. But for the Spurs to lose, I think some of their guys just can't play to their abilities. And Stephon Castle just seems like he's all there. Like, even if you do give him room, like you might play him with a big and just give him a ton of space, he's going to be smart enough to penetrate, to dish, and he's so quick that he's going to be able to get past whoever, get to the rim, keep moving that thing, and they're all bought in. And so other guys will end up splashing, it feels like, whether it's a Champagny or Dem Vassell. They're too good for that. I know the Blazers defense is really, really, really good since the All-Star break. They have played a lot of bad teams, third since the All-Star break, but they are a lot of bad teams. Either way, they've got the body types to throw at the Spurs, so that's a great sign. For us as fans.
I said a long time ago, and I was talking about the Spurs championship chances, that the X factors were Devin Vassell and Julian Champagny, to go to what you were saying, TK, about the three-point shooting. Those guys have damn near identical long ball stats, right? They shoot 38% from 3 on about 6 3-pointer attempts per game, each of them. They play about 28 to 30 minutes each. They just need, maybe not in this series as much, but to go very far, one, if not both those guys have to continue their great regular seasons. We've so many times seen guys have awesome regular seasons just go ice cold at the wrong time in the postseason, or the defense is more ramped up. There's focus on taking away you as a shooter out of the game. So I just want to see how they deal with that because they're very important, I think, for the Spurs going quite far. As for the X factor on the Blazers, I think it's just their bench here because over the last few days, they added 2 guys from injury in Jeremy Grant and Shaedon Sharpe, and both those guys were awesome against the Suns. They came through in big moments, either defensively or offensively. So suddenly Portland has like 10 guys that they're pretty comfortable playing here. And I think that's a bonus when you play like Portland does, which is high energy, push the ball, pick up teams three-quarter, even full court at times. So just to cycle in guys, them being back at least intrigues me a little bit more here to maybe put up more of a fight against a really talented Spurs team. Any other X factors? Any other takeaways, or get to predictions?
How about Scoot versus Wemby?
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that was a thing?
Yeah. Hey, Scoot's playing better.
He had an impact against the Suns, I thought. I think Denny Avdija is not a X factor, but it's going to be interesting to see the way he's able to attack against the Spurs. Denny led the league in drives per game this season, 12th in restricted area attempts per game. Only Amen Thompson and Maxey are perimeter players that are above him. But guess who's inside for the Spurs? It's Victor Wembanyama. And also the Spurs are the best in the league at not sending guys to the free throw line. So what's Denny going to do?
Yeah. It's one thing for Denny to, obviously, when he gets in there, to find the big, get a body on him, push the shoulder, push the arm, draw the foul. But it's like you just can't do it with Wemby because he's just, I'll just stay 10 feet away from you and just reach out and block you. So it's going to be hilarious. He has to have a monster series. He needs to have not like 41 like he had on Tuesday night, but very consistently 25-30 for them to pull off any sort of upset. That's a no-brainer.
I know Klingon isn't a typical 3-point shooter, and he doesn't let go too many a game, just 3 a game. But I wonder how many he starts to let go at the beginning of games just to pull him out a little bit to get Denny going as much as possible.
Predictions that you get us started. How many games? You got a sweep?
Yeah.
You got the brooms out?
I got to respect Portland to be able to take one home game in this series. So I got the Spurs in 5.
Okay.
I just feel like Wemby's going to be the talented dude we all know in his first series. He's ready for this moment. And so it'll trickle down to other guys. I think 5, though, because of the Blazers' depth. They're experienced to some degree. I know they haven't had a lot of experience together, but guys like Drew Holiday and all that, I think will trickle down. Denny has played in big games internationally, not in the NBA. So I believe that they can win a game.
I'm probably going to be wrong, but I think the Spurs are good enough to sweep this. So I'll take Spurs in 4.
Okay.
I think they're good enough at everything that the Blazers is a strength for them. I just think the Blazers are going to have a tough time on offense.
I'm with Tess on this one. I think the Blazers, whether it's a gentleman's sweep, taking a game 4 at home, I think they'll get 1 in Portland. So I'm going Spurs in 5 too. But I think it's going to be a little bit more competitive than some think. I think there'll be some games where Portland's hanging around. Maybe I'm just going off of that game against the Suns way too much, but I liked what I saw, obviously, and these guys coming back in Grant and Sharp, something there.
Yeah.
And they're obviously going into this as like, we got nothing to lose.
Yep.
We've actually had a pretty good season, all things considered. Especially after the start of it with the whole Billups and Splitter thing. Look where we are. We're playing the team that people think could win the title. We're playing maybe a generational player. Let it rip, guys. We got to lose here. So there's you can gain some confidence in that.
Yeah, will the offense score enough points? And I understand why Trey would take him in a sweep because Portland's offense, it's just one game, but they were down double digits against Phoenix in the middle of that fourth quarter when Phoenix couldn't execute the last 6 minutes on their end. Well, the Spurs, number 1, they're probably not going to be down double digits. Number 2, they're probably going to execute the last 6 minutes of a game.
All right, 2 Spurs in 5. Trick Kirby's got the brooms out for that one, says Spurs in 4. Let's hear from you guys. Do we have the YouTube poll? What are the people saying? I mean, is it 95%, 99% taking the Spurs in this?
No. 86% taking the
We
Spurs.
got some Blazers fans in the house. Wow,
that's right.
Wow. All right. Smelling an upset.